The EU's negotiator-in-chief arriving last night, ready to resume talks in the flesh.
We continue to work, patience and determination.
And will you get a deal, sir?
Neither then nor heading in to meet the British team this morning did he hint a deal would be done. But we keep being told a trade agreement is 95% there. So there is a weight of expectation surrounding this weekend. Some are seeing it as a good sign that Michel Barnier has come to London for talks. Inside, he and the UK's negotiator, Lord Frost, may be face to face, but they are seemingly leagues apart on a key issue, which could mean a deal slips through the net. That big sticking point is fishing rights in British seas. The EU would give back up to 18% of its current catch. Britain wants 80% at least. The other slippery issues are rules to prevent unfair competition, for example on subsidies, and how any deal would be policed should either side fail to stick to what's agreed. The EU is nervous on that count. Listen to what the President of the European Commission said just before these talks.
We want to know what remedies are available in case one side will deviate in the future. Because trust is good, but law is better.
The status quo for industries from fishing to financial services ceases to be on the 31st of December. Any agreement needs to be checked by lawyers, translated into 24 languages and signed off by government and the European Parliament by then. The EU might agree to the deal going through on a provisional basis before voting on it next year, but you wouldn't want to bank on that. If talks fail and there's no deal, we'll be trading under World Trade Organization rules, which experts warn are heavy for some industries.
It is food and drink that would feel the pain most from tariffs coming into the EU-UK relationship. Tariffs are highest on food and drink, and that's on everything really from primary agricultural produce, whether it's beef or it's dairy, cheese. There's tariffs across the food and drink sector. Cars as well, there's a tariff of 10%, and we've heard from Nissan, among others, that they don't think that their plant in Sunderland is sustainable in the event of there being no deal. Chemicals as well. Most consumer products aren't the big deal here. It's more about industrial products and food and drink that would be really hit.
For now, the talks continue. Neither side wants to take the blame for the UK crashing out of the EU. But even if they can land a deal, they still have to bring it home in time.
Jane Dees. Well, I'm joined now by Anand Menon, Director of the UK in China Changing Europe think tank. Thanks for coming back on the programme, Anand. So help me out here. My head is telling me that there should be a deal, be it madness not to have one. My gut is telling me that there might not be one. Which one is it?
Well, I think we became used to thinking that economic outcomes drove political decisions. And if you think that way, then yes, your head will say there should be a deal, because it's quite clear that in terms of the economy, both of the UK and the EU, a deal would cause less damage than no deal. But of course, the Brexit negotiations aren't just about economics, they're about political principle. On the EU side, they're saying we can't do anything to weaken our market. And both Boris Johnson and David Frost have made it clear that for them, sovereignty is the overriding concern here. They don't want to sign up to anything that limits the UK's freedom of movement. And at the moment, both sides' political red lines seem to be trumping economic considerations.
Because if you put it like that, Anand, there won't be a deal, will there?
Well, as things stand, and as that report highlighted, both sides are quite a long way apart on the issue of both fish, where there's a lot of politics as well, obviously, and the so-called level playing field issue. So no, if the politics remains as it is, there won't be a deal. What we don't know yet, and I think that's what these next 4 days will show us, is whether either or both sides have the appetite to make the kinds of concessions, despite domestic opposition, that would allow for a deal to be signed.
OK, so talking of that political appetite, is that appetite to make concessions easier for the Prime Minister now that Dominic Cummings has left the government, or is that irrelevant?
I think it's largely irrelevant. I mean, the things you hear from Downing Street was that Dominic Cummings played little or no role in the Brexit talks to date. I think this is political in the sense that the Prime Minister, A, believes that Britain should maximise its sovereignty, and B, knows that in the House of Commons there are a number of MPs, not coincidentally, a number of MPs who are also very upset about the proposed new tier system for dealing with COVID, who might kick up a fuss if they think he's conceded too much in terms of complying with rules that the EU have imposed on us. So there's real sort of parliamentary politics behind this, and I think a mixture of those reasons is making the Prime Minister hesitate.
But a lot of those MPs that you mentioned, and we talk to them all the time, who are against the lockdown because it's sinking the economy, are also then people who might be, more interested in sovereignty than in actually saving the economy by having a deal. A contradiction there, surely.
No, absolutely. There's an inconsistency behind this. In fact, a lot of the MPs who derided economic forecasts during the Brexit process are actually saying now they want to see economic impact assessments of the lockdown before they can make a decision. So no, there isn't much in the way of consistency.
And if there is a deal, it will still be a pretty hard Brexit, won't it? So let's say, there is going to be some sort of deal. What will the impact on the economy be then?
Well, from the Office for Budget Responsibilities figures that the Chancellor had beside him, though, as you rightly say, he didn't mention Brexit in his speech last week, they've already baked in a 4% impact on the economy, even with a deal. And what they're saying is, if you have no deal, you can add another 2% negative on top of that. So the figures are quite big. And yes, you're absolutely right. There's some modelling from the London School of Economics from a few months ago that suggests that even with a deal, over the medium term, say 10 years, the negative impact of Brexit will be more, significantly more than the impact of COVID on the economy.
A lot to look forward to.
It's one way of looking at it.